The illusion we all chase. Most of us live our lives chasing one thing: control. Control over our schedules, control over our relationships, control over how others see us, and, most of all, control over the future. We are taught from a young age that control is strength, that certainty is safety, that if we can just hold things together tightly enough, perfectly enough, we'll finally be okay. But somewhere along the way, life breaks through that illusion. The relationship ends, the job disappears, the diagnosis comes, the world shifts, and suddenly, all your plans dissolve, and you're left wondering, did I fail? Or was I never really in control at all? This is the moment many people feel most lost, but it's also the doorway to a deeper truth. Control is a myth, not because we're weak, but because life itself is fluid, unpredictable, alive. C.S. Lewis understood this. He wrote, "Inner grief observed, during the darkest days of his life. We are not necessarily doubting that God will do the best for us. We are wondering how painful the best will turn out to be." This is not the voice of a man giving up, but of one awakening to the truth that strength is not found in control, but in surrender, not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust, of releasing your grip on what you cannot command and opening your hands to what is. In modern psychology, this is called radical acceptance, acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance or denial. It doesn't mean you like it. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It means you stop fighting the truth and start moving with it, like a river that flows around rocks instead of trying to destroy them, like a tree that bends with the wind but does not break. This is the paradox. Real strength is flexible. Real courage yields. Real peace lets go. In the next block, we'll explore why the need for control is so deeply wired into us, and how releasing it opens the door to clarity, freedom, and inner power. Wired for control. Why we cling to what hurts us. The need for control is not just a personality trait. It's a survival instinct. Our brains are wired to seek certainty. Predictability helps us feel safe. It gives us the illusion that we can protect ourselves from pain. And for a while, this illusion works. We make plans, we build routines, we set goals. And when things go well, it feels like we're in control. But then, life doesn't follow the script. People disappoint us. Health declines. Markets crash. Unexpected loss shatters what we thought was secure. And when that happens, something terrifying is exposed, that we were never actually in control, just skilled at managing appearances. Still, we cling tighter. We micromanage. We try to force outcomes. We obsess over the future and punish ourselves for the past. But instead of giving us peace, control becomes a prison. It locks us inside constant tension. Fear becomes our companion. Rest feels dangerous. Letting go feels like death. The irony is painful. In our pursuit of control, we lose the very things we long for: freedom, presence, joy. And the more we tighten our grip, the more we suffer. C.S. Lewis observed this in The Human Heart. He wrote, "The human spirit will not even begin to try to surrender itself as long as all seems to be well with it. Only when life shows us the limits of control do we begin to open to a deeper truth, to a more grounded strength." Modern psychology has a name for this moment: the threshold of surrender. It's the point where trying harder no longer works, where strategy fails and presence begins, where the ego loses its grip and the soul begins to speak. And it says, "You were never meant to control everything. You were meant to trust, to live, to love, in the midst of uncertainty." But how do we begin to let go? How do we loosen the grip that feels so necessary even as it drains us? That's what we'll explore in the next block, where we'll uncover the practice of surrender and how yielding can become your deepest source of peace and strength. The strength of surrender. Letting go without giving up. When most people hear the word surrender, they think of defeat, giving up, weakness, loss. But true surrender is something entirely different. It is not about quitting life. It's about entering it fully without resistance. It's about letting go of the illusion of control so that you can begin to live in truth. C.S. Lewis wrote, "The more we let God take us over, the more truly ourselves we become." Surrender is not about erasing who you are. It's about uncovering who you've been beneath all the fear. When you surrender, you stop fighting reality. You stop blaming yourself for what you can't fix. You stop chasing peace through perfection. And in that moment, something beautiful happens. You find a deeper strength than effort ever gave you. This is the strength of trust. The quiet, grounded confidence that you can face whatever comes. Not because you control it, but because you no longer need to. Modern therapy often calls this acceptance with agency. It's not passive, it's not numb, it's alive. You accept what you cannot change, but you act fully within what you can. You stop trying to bend the world to your will, and you begin to align your life with wisdom, clarity, and love. This shift is radical. It turns fear into freedom. It turns stress into spaciousness. Instead of obsessing over how to keep every detail in place, you begin each day by asking, what is mine to carry today and what is not? Instead of controlling others, you learn to communicate, to forgive, to to release. Instead of controlling outcomes, you focus on showing up with presence, integrity, and faith. This is not easy. Surrender must be practiced daily, especially when fear rises again, and the old reflex to control comes back. But every time you surrender, you plant a seed of peace in your soul. And like any seed, with time, it grows. It grows into trust. It grows into clarity. It grows into the strength of a heart that no longer needs to grip life tightly to feel safe. In the next part, we'll look at real-world ways to practice surrender. Simple steps that help you loosen your grip, soften your fear, and reclaim your freedom. Practicing surrender, daily habits for letting go and living free. Surrender is not a one-time decision, a practice, a habit of the soul. And like any habit, it grows through small, intentional steps. 1. Begin the day with release before your mind gets swept into worry or obligation. Pause, breathe, place your hand on your heart and say, I don't have to control everything today. I choose to trust what I cannot see. This sets the tone and inner orientation toward surrender. You're not declaring passivity, you're choosing peace over panic. 2. Notice the grip throughout the day. Catch yourself in moments of tension, obsessing over a conversation, replaying a mistake, trying to force someone's behavior, fearing an outcome. These are all signs of the grip, that desperate clenched for control. When you feel it, pause and ask, what am I trying to control right now? What would it feel like to let this go? Awareness is the first doorway into surrender. 3. Practice the pause in Stoic and contemplative traditions alike. The pause is sacred. Before reacting, before assuming, before spiraling, give yourself the space to breathe, reflect, and respond from your center. This tiny habit creates freedom between stimulus and response, where surrender can enter. 4. Let nature teach you. Nature never forces. The river doesn't resist its path. The tree doesn't panic when the wind changes. The seasons surrender in cycles. Spend time in nature and observe. Let it teach your nervous system what trust looks like without words. You'll begin to feel it in your body. The release, the flow, the groundedness of things, not trying to be anything but what they are. 5. Write the worry down. When your mind spins with fear, write it out, literally. Then divide it into 2 columns. What I can control, what I cannot control. This act alone brings immense clarity. You'll often find that the weight you carry isn't even yours to hold. Release the second column. Focus your energy on the first. This is surrender in motion. 6. End the day in trust before sleep. Offer your day back. Whatever went well, whatever fell apart, release it. C.S. Lewis reminds us, relying on God has to begin all over again every day, as if nothing had yet been done. Surrender is not permanent perfection. It's a cycle of remembering, letting go, and trusting again. In the final block, we'll reflect on what a surrendered life truly looks like. Not as escape from reality, but as a deeper entrance into peace, strength, and spiritual clarity. The surrendered life, strength, peace, and purpose without control. So what does a surrendered life truly look like? It's not passive, it's not detached, it's not numb to reality. A surrendered life is rooted, awake, and resilient. It walks through chaos without becoming it. It faces uncertainty without crumbling, because it no longer draws strength from control, but from clarity, humility, and trust. The surrendered person doesn't need everything to go their way. They're not paralyzed by the unknown. They've made peace with not having all the answers. And in that peace, they find a new kind of freedom. They become less reactive, more present, more honest with themselves and others. They begin to live from their center, not from fear, but from purpose. C.S. Lewis once said, the real problem is not why some pious, humble, believing people suffer, but why some do not. Pain and uncertainty are part of life, but when we stop resisting them, when we allow them to shape us rather than shatter us, they become instruments of wisdom. A surrendered life holds space for paradox, strength and softness, joy and grief, action and rest. It's a life lived in rhythm with something larger than the ego, with faith, with spirit, with meaning. In letting go of the illusion of control, you begin to live more fully, not because everything is perfect, but because you are no longer at war with reality. This is the deepest strength. This is the quiet power of surrender. And this is the invitation before you now, to lay down the exhausting burden of control and pick up the gentle strength of trust, to move through life not as a fixer of every problem, but as a sower of meaning, a bringer of peace, a heart fully living in uncertainty. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the Sower of Meaning for weekly reflections on inner peace, emotional growth, and spiritual courage. Leave a comment below. What are you learning to surrender today? And remember, you were never meant to control everything. You were meant to live freely, wisely, and fully.